In this lesson, we're going to learn how we can take flat designs, more specifically UI designs, user interface designs, and apply them onto a phone, a picture of a phone, and then we're going to animate those designs. And let me first bring it in so it's easier to explain. This is our phone, and we have some videos. Basically, we have application designs in this lesson, and we're going to put them in the phone screen, but we will be animating the application, which is right here. There it is. So this is our application design, and the quality is low because it's on Quarter. And we're going to animate this application and put it on top of this phone. This is a picture. But since we will be animating the application, make things appear and add some 3D stuff as well, we're gonna make it really cool on top of this phone and have a really futuristic display of the application design. And then after that, we're going to animate certain elements for communication to make it look more fun and more exciting. You can see we have this guy typing. And we're going to put some relevant elements around the subject. We're going to add in some maybe text bubbles and just show the activity that he's doing, which is chatting with his friend. All right, so let's close these. And first open up UI screen by Freepik. We have the application here. We have a lot of layers. And if you remember from previous lesson, we need to separate each of the elements that we want to animate, or else we will just animate a merged version, and that's not going to look cool. The more movement in the animation for UI application designs, the cooler and the more futuristic it will look. So that is why I separated every single one of these elements. And we're just going to group them so we don't have this many layers to look at. Grouping them will just make it more organized, and it will be less confusing when you're looking at the layers. So I'm going to get every layer related to this temperature box. So 20, 22, 21, you can see the outline. Temp BG, half circle, main BG temp, humidity, and temp text, control your space. So everything in the middle. Right click and pre-compose. Move all attributes into the new composition. Call this temperature. All right, it's looking cleaner. Then we have the slider. Anything related to the slider needs to also go in its own group. Light slider. Then we have the backgrounds, pre-compose those as well, BG. Then we have some plus and minus also goes in temperature. Just put it here. All right. Then we just have these two elements that can just stay out because they don't go in any of these. We can just make their own composition. Additional elements. Okay, so now it looks a lot more tidy and a lot more easier to look at. All right, so before we animate this, usually we would animate the flat designs and then we'll bring it onto the final footage. But this time we're going to do the opposite, just so we have an idea of what type of animations we would, what type of animations would look better. So go on the image, right click, new comp from selection. Fit, so we can see. This is a picture. I'm not using a video because that would just be harder because you have to use the tracker panel and then match the corners and all that. So it's a lot more easier to get a picture. And we're going to, I chose this picture because the phone is here and we have space up here. So we can do maybe a 3D animation as well. So it looks really futuristic. I'm gonna delete tracker. What we want to do is to first rename our picture, call this phone, duplicate it, call this phone frame. And on phone frame, we're going to go and effects and presets. If you're not seeing it, window, effects and presets. All right, on phone frame, we're going to get something called Luma key. We're not using key light because we don't have any color. It's mostly a bright surface and there's a lot of white, so we need to use Luma key to carefully remove the brightest shade of white, which is the phone case. If we were dealing with a green screen, we would be using key light and not Luma key. So this effect goes on phone frame. In the key type, go for key out brighter. And turn this off for a second, the one below. So essentially we have a black screen because it keyed out everything. We need to work with the threshold to make things better. So slowly bring in the threshold and add until it's nothing, like everything's there except for the phone. Because the phone screen is the brightest color. So we easily keyed out that. But once we zoom in, we have some edge work to do. Come down to edge thin and we're going to maybe add 1. Okay, 1 is enough. We are done with the edge. Let's feather out the edge by maybe 3. Let's try 2 on edge thin. Okay, 2 is better. Go for 3. And we have successfully keyed out the white. If I bring in something, let's bring in the UI screen, put it in between phone frame and phone. You can see that it is perfectly removed and we have this within the phone. All right, so we have this, there's this issue now. Go back in phone frame and perhaps we can remove from the threshold 218. I meant add to the threshold, not remove. 237. See if it's okay down here. Okay. Add to the edge thin, 3. You can feather it out as well. All right, so that's good. Let's zoom out. And now we want to fit the UI screen into the phone because right now it's not in with the perspective of the phone. So zoom in, go in effects and presets, look for corner pin, apply that on the UI screen by FreePick. We have the corners now and all we have to do is to just first lock the phone frame so we don't move that accidentally. Select corner pin and just grab each of the corners. Align it with the corner of the phone. Just like that. May have to zoom in, make sure everything is perfect. All right, so this is in the frame right now, and it's looking pretty good. And you can turn on the phone visibility, and once I do that, you can see that we kind of missed a bit of the top. So go back to phone UI, select corner pin, and just move the corners up a little bit. Make sure you're not exposing any of the whites. Okay. So we have this, and now we need to remove a bit of the bottom here. So we have to get the corners again and just move it up slightly so we're not going over this piece of wood. Okay, there we are. So now that we know that, now that we're done with the fitting of our screen, we can go ahead and start animating everything related to the phone. So double click on UI screen to enter the composition. And just using everything we've learned so far, you can easily animate each of these elements. I'm going to start from the top. Double click on additional elements, which is up here. Kitchen text, we can perhaps write our own text. So we can add something to it, call it this kitchen. Control A, make it white. Choose another font. Let's see what font is fun. I'd go with the favorite font. This looks classy enough. You can make it bold to somewhat match the boldiness of the text up there. Alright, we can replace this. Delete kitchen text. Select the kitchen layer, hold down Control or Command, double click on the anchor point so it's in the beginning. Alright, so in the kitchen, bring up the text property, go to Animate, Character Offset. Again, Animate, Animator 1, we're in the text layer now. Go to Animator 1, go to Add Again, Property, go to Opacity, set Opacity to 0, and then go to Range Selector 1, turn on Start at 0%, 4 at 100. So we're gonna have like a typewriter like this. And if you want it to be like a typewriter so it doesn't have that smoothing effect, you can go to Advanced and just remove the smoothness from 100. I'm gonna keep it at 40. So now it's going to be a little bit smooth. You can see it kind of fades in. And I like that. I'm going to make it a little faster. Kitchen. Make sure you easy ease those keyframes with F9. Go to the graph editor. I want it to be fast in the beginning. Hold on. I want it to be fast in the beginning and then slow near the end. So we have something like this. Play that again. It's fast, then it slows down for the final letters. If you expand it, it's going to show these slow parts even more. Okay, so there's the text done. We have the menu settings, which I'm just going to make them appear. Hit T, 0%. Gonna get the Align tab. I feel like they're not in the center. Select that layer and just put it in the center. There we are. Let's close these two. 0% and then 100. F9, those keyframes. Be halfway through the text. We're going to make these guys come in. So it'll be something like that. Get a little faster. Okay. And we're done with the additional elements. Go back to UI screen. I'm going to bring it here. After that is the main part, which is the temperature part. I'm going to come down here, go to temperature. I'm first going to make plus and minus. Let's do temperature first. Go to temperature. We have all of these guys. And all right, so we have a slider control, essentially. We are going to first start from the top. We did in the last part. Control your space. I'm going to make this come out with position. Take it out of frame. Turn on the stopwatch and do everything in the beginning of these composition. We're going to offset these layers separately in the main composition. Make sure everything starts in the beginning. Again, want to make it fast and then slow, so it comes in like that. All right, then we have temperature, the text. I'm going to move in a bit forward and then do the same thing for temperature. Move it out of frame, turn on the stopwatch, then bring it back. F9, and we're just going to do the exact same thing we did last time with the control your space text, so they come in a similar manner. All right, temperature. Next is the humidity, which I'm just going to make it appear like that with T opacity 0. $100. All right, looks futuristic enough. Close that. Then we have main background, temp, the half circle, temp background. So we're just going to make this scale in after like halfway through the animation here. Hit S, 0, hit scale, come in a few frames, 100, F9, do that. So it comes in like that, which looks pretty cool. And then after it appears, we want the half circle to make its way up as well. So for the half circle, I might maybe get the radial swipe effect. Go to effects and presets, radial wipe, put it on half circle. So get the wipe center, put it in the center. Okay, then we're going to zoom in, and we're going to set the start angle for 90 degrees, so it starts from here. You can make it clockwise or counterclockwise. Turn on the transition. First make it 100, then turn on the transition, open a few frames, and then make it 0. Hit U on that, then we can clearly see the thing. If you want it to come from the other way, simply change the wipe to clockwise. It's going to come in like that. Which I think for our case, it could be from the other side because it's coming, although no, it's going to be okay. Depends on whether you're going to go from 21 to 22 or from 21 to 20. I'm going to go to 22, so it needs to be this orange, and then it goes to red because it gets hotter. F9, do that. All right, this guy comes in. We need to definitely make it slower. It's a bit too fast. All right, a little bit more slow. Something like that. Or we could just undo this. Let's have a look. Okay, that's better. It's the speed I want. And then we have the temperature BG, which around here where it's almost finished, I'm going to scale this inwards. And although we should do that before the rainbow thing comes over, so hit S, make it 0, turn it on right before this guy starts to appear, set it to 100. F9, and we want to make this smoother. Let's have a look. Okay, that's better. We did these, and then we have the numbers to work with. So we said we're going to go towards the hotter temperature. So 21 needs to go up. Sorry, 20 needs to go out of frame. And I may have to type these again because we need another number since we're going to scroll in. Just get the text tool. We're going to write our own numbers. 21 degrees. I'm going to leave the degrees out, just 21. Click away. 20. Click away. 22. And then finally, we need 23. Okay, we can get the color. So click on 20, get the eyedropper tool, and get this light gray color. And we can just replace this with that. 21 is going to be this color. 22 needs to be the same color as this guy. 23 as well. It needs to be this grayish color. Okay, we can go ahead and delete the numbers. Don't need them anymore. So we have 21, 22. Hold down Control and center their keyframes, the anchor points. We can use the Align tab to just align them in the center. Close the paragraph and just align them in the center. This one as well. All right, so 23, we're going to have to bring it below 22 and then align it in the center. So 21 is going to, 20, sorry, I don't know why it's written 27 here. This is 20. 20 is going to move up at P after the things have appeared. So right around here, 20 needs to move out. Hit P on 20, turn on the stopwatch, and then around here we want it to move upwards like so. And then at the same time, while it's moving upwards, close that. I'm going to stretch my timeline. Around here it needs to start disappearing. So hit T. Let me F9 these first. Hit T, then we're going to make it disappear. 0. F9, hit U on these so you can look at both keyframes and then adjust it like that. So as you saw, it disappears and it fades out. I'm going to make it fade out before it reaches the end. So let me zoom in. See, it fades out like that. Alright, so we need to do the same thing with 21. It moves out, but it becomes the light gray. It does not disappear. Get the number 21. The layers are named weirdly. So as soon as this guy starts to move, on the keyframe that you set for 20, hit P on 21, turn on the stopwatch, and at the same rate, we want it to move upwards to replace 20. Okay, so you can see it goes up like that. We may have to speed this up a little bit. F9. So it disappears and replaces 20. But for the color, me close 20, open 21. The names are not right. Let's rename them real quick so it won't be confusing when I'm explaining. 23, 22. Okay. So 21, we're going to open the properties, the text, more options. We can add a fill layer on this. So go to effects and presets, get fill, apply it on 21. So we don't want this color. We want it to be white like it was. Hit U on this. So right around when it starts to cross this line, I'm going to turn on the stopwatch, and then once it ends here, we want to get the eyedropper tool and get this gray. So we have this animation right now. In the beginning, goes up, it turns that color. And if you hit U on this for the color, we can even make it happen faster. F9, let's have a look. Okay, that looks better. So make the color change in the same rate of the position keyframes. Put that in the middle. All right. So we need to do this with the other numbers as well. Close 21, I'm going to get 22, which is next in line. We're going to compare it to 21. So open 21 and then hit P for 22. Turn on the stopwatch, match it with the other keyframe for 21 and just move it to replace the number. Okay. F9 both keyframes, and I believe we used the speed graph for 21. Do that, and again put the fill on 22 because it's going to turn white from gray. First set the original color. 22 gray, turn on the stopwatch, go in the end, and then set it to white. Hit U on 22 so we can see the keyframes. F9. Let's have a look at the speed. 22. I think 22 is a little too fast. We want this to be a little slower, so grab all the keyframes for 22. Kind of slow it down so 21 has time to completely move out of sight. And then finally we have 23. Hit M on 21 and go to 22. I'm going to bring 23 below 22. Go for when 22 is down there. We're going to hit P on 22. Before we turn on the stopwatch, we're just going to move it out the frame because it blends in with this color. We don't need to make it disappear. Turn on the stopwatch and then have it move up to replace 22. Trying to find the right position. F9, elements, speed graph, not elements. So 22, 23. We don't need to change the color for that. We're good. Hit M on all of them. Grab all the numbers and hit U on them so we can see the keyframes. I feel like it's a little bit too fast. I want the circle to finish appearing. And we're just going to get all of these guys and hit T because I don't want them to be here when the circle's not there. So hit 0 and then they're going to appear. Make it 100. Although before we do that, let's undo what we did. We're going to pre-compose all of these numbers, and then we're going to add the text, the opacity transformation on this. So this is where the circle appears. Okay, and then the next frame, I want them to be 0. So it's not there, and then it appears suddenly with F9. We can edit the speed graph as well, stretch the timeline. It's really hard to see. It's really tiny. So the numbers show up when the circle shows up. So they have something to stand on. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. There we are. Maybe do this here. A little bit longer. It's a bit too fast. Okay, that's better. And the position, I'm going to slowly go over this and look at the positions. Okay, 22 is a little fast, as we can see. I'm going to double click on numbers to enter the numbers. 22, hit U on it, and go to 21 and hit U as well. We want to slow down 22. So when this is here, I want 22 keyframes to start moving. So it's going to come down a slight bit. Play that back. Okay, it's too slow. You may have to stretch your timeline to see them better. Get the second sets of keyframes and slow it down a little. Okay. That's better. I'm going to hit M on all of these. And once again, I'm going to align them in the center. Select all keyframes, align in the center. Good. And there we are. So this is our temperature stuff. We had let me close additional elements. We can close temperature as well. We're done with the things. Go to UI, and then we have the plus and minus, which I'm just going to make it appear when the numbers start appearing. So hit T on that. So it's like the plus and minus icons appear as soon as the numbers are about to change. Okay, slow it down a bit. Okay, slow it down a bit, make it appear before the numbers. There we are. So we're done with the temperature. We changed the number. Hit M. Now we have the light slider, and that is the final element of this UI application. The background stays the same. Just go in light slider, just down here. Go to the Lightroom text in the beginning of the thing, hit P on it, or you could just use any property that you prefer. I like using the position keyframes. A few frames in, bring this guy back. F9, speed graph, edit that so it appears in a fun way. Okay, and then once it appears, we're going to make the light background scale. Hit 0 on scale, turn on the stopwatch, 100. So this comes and then this guy comes in. Around here we want the bar to appear as well. We're actually going to mask out the this part so it's like it's sliding forward. Get the slider, hit P. Without turning on the stopwatch, just bring it here and make sure the slider is big enough to cover the color underneath it. Just make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So I'm gonna hit T on this, 0%, and make it 100. Don't forget to turn on the stopwatch. Over here, turn on the stopwatch, 2 seconds, 100. F9. Second one, didn't make it 100. Okay. Then F9, so it appears after the box. And then we're going to get the bar, move it here so we don't have that problem. And we're going to put a position keyframe at the start of this after it appears. It's going to, let's hit P, turn on the stopwatch, then move it a few frames and just move it all the way to the end. F9, and I want it to be slow. We're not going to go in the speed graph for this. There we are. Then go in the bar, go in the beginning, and we're going to mask it out using the rectangle tool. So just make like a little box in the beginning. Open up mask 1, mask path, turn on the stopwatch, come near the end, match the keyframes, and we're just going to hit Control T on mask path to just open it up completely. You may have to adjust the speed, so have a look at it. Okay, it's perfect. So that was the light bar and everything else. Close each of the layers. We can now go ahead and go back in the UI by Freepik. Now everything is animated, so turn this to fit, go from the start, and now we can adjust the time they come in. I like it when they all appear at the same time, but if you want, you can offset each of these layers, make one appear after the other if you prefer. I'm going to leave it like that, and now once we go back in the Cotton Bro video, the Pexels video, we have all of this. And after it appears, or halfway through, it's a great time to add a text to make it more commercial-like. Get the text tool, and let's write smart home. Then a tagline like easy living. Control A, make it bigger. All right, we have this now. And want to make it white so it stands out. There we are. Click away. Can add a drop shadow effect on our text layer. Add to the distance. You can choose the angle too. I'm going to add a little bit of distance. You can soften it out if you don't want it to be harsh like that. I'm happy with the angle. Opacity, you can change that to 59 is good for me. So this was without the drop shadow, this is with the drop shadow. And, oops. I'm gonna lock the videos in place, I don't want to move them. I will also add a rectangle below the smart layer. Let's sample the red in the UI and make a box as big as this. Bring it underneath your text and then adjust it if you need to. All right. And I'm going to duplicate this, bring the second one below this, and maybe get another color from the UI. I'm gonna go with this orange color. Bring that below the red color. I think we don't need the drop shadow since we added the background color. There's a lot of space between these. Turn this off for easy living. Turn the easy living to something lighter so it looks better. Bring this here. The box is too big. Just make it smaller. And the same thing for the layer underneath. Maybe do something like this. Okay, we have something like that. And I'm going to link get the orange layer. Let's call this orange. The one on top, call it red, and that one's just our text. So get the pick whip and apply this to attach it to orange. Same for the text. Then on orange, we can get the perspective, the position keyframe and just move it out completely. The pick whip allows us to keep the position that we determined for the text and the red box. So we don't have to do this position animation for each of the 3 layers. We can just add the pick whip and everything will stay just the way we animated. Do that and adjust the speed later. All right, so there's our animation. We made it like so, really easy. And now that we made the animation, in the next lesson, we're going to try a 3D look. We're going to make it come out of the phone and have it on display here. So it has like a futuristic look to it. And then later after that, we're going to go with the second example. And the second example, it's something really easy. I just wanted to show you guys that you can also show activities using these techniques. So this is it for this lesson. Let's move on to the next part.